Hey everybody, welcome back to English for You. We're talking about script supervisors, the continuity experts. I'm Kat.
And I'm Mike.
And yesterday we learned what a script supervisor was and kind of some of the things they do before shooting. So what do they do?
Well, basically, the script supervisor has to pay attention to every little part of the script, not just what the actors are saying or where the scene will take place. Is it inside, outside, daytime, nighttime? Not that basic stuff. What the actors are wearing, what they're holding, what the sound effects are doing, what's going on in the background behind the actors. They have to keep track of all this so that we don't have weird things where suddenly, the people were talking in a place where music was playing and then the next minute it's silent. What happened? We didn't see anyone turn the radio off. That will take the viewer, us, kind of out of the scene and make us go, hey, we're watching a bunch of people making a movie and someone made a silly mistake.
Right.
So the script supervisor's job is to know the script back and forth, top to bottom, inside and out, and kind of sit there like a supervisor, like a referee in a game, just making sure there's no mistakes.
Right, and they also are in charge of scheduling scenes, it seems like, and scheduling when all the things are going to be used.
That's right, because they often shoot films out of sequence, right? It might start in a restaurant scene, but that restaurant scene, they actually filmed that 2 weeks after they started making the movie.
Yeah.
So they have to make sure that, the actor's hair is the right length and all that other stuff. If they have a suntan, they have to make sure that they don't suddenly look much paler than they did in an earlier shot. Oh my gosh, it's like giving me a headache. But the good thing is, right, that they have technology to help them out. They're not just doing this all with pen and paper and notes.
Yeah, for sure.
They have computer programs that they can use these days that help them to keep everything really, really organized.
Yes, but all of this is even before they start shooting the movie.
Yeah.
So, of course, their job doesn't end when shooting begins.
Nope.
So they have other things they have to do. They have to be on set. So today we're going to talk about, what do they do when they're shooting? What do they have to pay attention to and something like that?
All right. So yesterday was about the preparation before the shooting, and today we're going to look at what happens actually on set as the cameras are rolling and the actors are doing their thing. I'm getting nervous.
Me too.
Let's check out the article.
Reading.
Script supervisors, the continuity experts. On set, the script supervisor sits with the director and watches each take. As they watch, the supervisor makes numerous notes. For example, which shoulder is that actress's hair on? Which hand did the actor gesture with? These details have to be the same in each take, especially when the scene is filmed from different camera angles. The script supervisor has other tasks too. They time each scene and write that down on the breakdown sheet. They also make sure actors deliver their lines correctly. They're even aware of where each actor is looking. Are they looking in the right direction at someone who is not in the shot? If the person moves, is the actor still making eye contact? Amazingly, one script supervisor has to do all these jobs. If you'd like to become a script supervisor, you need to have superb attention to detail. You need to be extremely organized and have an excellent memory. It's a hard job, but everyone in the movie business appreciates the important role script supervisors play. All right, so the article starts out talking about where we are now, on set. On set means where they are shooting the movie. The script supervisor sits with the director and watches each take. Okay, they have to watch everything that's being shot. So every time that they film a scene, they got to watch it. They have to make sure it matches with the previous scenes, something like that. So who is the director? We've mentioned this person a few times, but you might not know exactly what a director does. That's the person who decides how to shoot the movie. So they tell the actors what to do. They tell the cameramen how to use the cameras. They sort of set the feeling for how the movie is going to be made. And they decide, basically, like they make it into the artistic vision that it ends up being. So,
yeah, they're kind of the creative boss of the movie.
Exactly. And that's why they get most of the credit when they're talking about people behind the scenes.
Sure. Ang Lee, Steven Spielberg, Stanley Kubrick, people like that are famous directors.
Yes, Steven
Joss
Spielberg,
Whedon,
I think.
I think he's a director, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He directs a lot of TV shows that he's
But he's in the Marvel, too. I think he did some of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So there you go. If you want to be a director, you're basically the one who wants to plan out the movie, tell the actors what to do, tell the camera people what to do. You make all the big creative decisions in the movie.
Yeah, so, for example, Alfred Hitchcock was one of the greatest directors in the history of film.
Back of the article, it says, as they watch, the supervisor, that's the script supervisor, this person, this job we're talking about, as they watch, the supervisor makes numerous notes. So they're probably sitting just behind the director, just next to the camera. They really have to be there and be paying attention all the time. No fiddling with your phones, people, because there's a lot of things going on, and it's really their job to catch those things. They're sort of like the goalie of the filmmaking. If they make a mistake, then there's going to be a problem. And they do all this. They keep organized by making numerous notes. Numerous just means lots.
Yes.
They're making lots of notes about what they're saying, what they're doing, what they're wearing, what they're holding, where they're standing, all of that kind of stuff. Give us an example, Kat.
All right. For example, which shoulder is that actress's hair on? So if it's over her right shoulder, make sure it's not over her left shoulder in the next shot.
He'll have flipping hair. What happened? Her hair flipped from one side to the other, but she didn't actually touch it.
Exactly.
But if she does touch something, the article says, which hand did the actor gesture with? If they gesture, if they touch something, they have to know, was it the right hand? Was it the left hand? If they're doing it if they're waving goodbye with their left hand, and then we cut to another shot from a different position, and suddenly their right hand is up in the air waving, we at home might go, wait a minute. When did they change hands? When did they change the hand that they are gesturing with? To gesture is basically to move a body part, a hand, a leg, maybe part of your face too. But generally we gesture with our hands and arms. And you're communicating. You're kind of giving a signal or passing on a message by waving, by putting your hand up in the air and sort of moving it slowly side to side. You're waving, you're saying hello or goodbye. If you hold the door open for someone, to let them walk through in front of you, you might stick your other arm out in sort of a sweeping gesture to kind of show them, after you, go this way. So by looking at that, you don't have to say go this way, you don't have to say after you, you don't have to say please walk first. The gesture communicates the idea.
Yeah.
For example, the police officer gestured the driver to pull over to the side of the road. Oh, okay. Yep. So maybe they wanted to talk to the driver. They made a mistake. So they, pointed their arm or moved their thumb to a direction pointing towards the side or the edge of the road.
I know that as a person whose Chinese is not great, I use gestures to talk to people a lot.
Absolutely. When you're giving directions to someone, you'll use gestures too, right? By pointing and things like that.
Yeah. Okay, so going on with the article, these details, like gestures and hair and all of that thing, have to be the same in each take, especially when the scene is filmed from different camera angles.
It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to us, it looks like the same take, but it's not. It's not the same. It's the same scene, but it's two different angles and maybe two different shots. So angle here means like the line between the place you are and the place you're looking at. So for example, maybe you have two different cameras. One is from a wide angle shot, which means that it's far away and it's taking in a lot of different, a lot of the scene, like a very large amount of space.
Okay.
And then you might have a close angle, which is just on the person's face, maybe their shoulders.
Close-up, like too. We call that a close-up, right?
Close-up. And then you have, downward angles, upward angles, Dutch angles are one that
Dutch angle?
Yeah, a Dutch angle is when they kind of tilt it a little bit to the side. So it's not straight up and down. So they use that a lot I know the Marvel movies use that a lot.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's a very popular thing with directors these days because it's kind of it gives you like an unsettling or weird feeling.
Interesting.
Yeah. So an example might be, well, this is a different sort of angle. It's not camera angles, but it is, the line between where you are and what you're seeing. Please cut this piece of wood at a 45-degree angle. So yeah, we talked about angles in terms of degrees. So 90 degrees is from up to one side, so on, 180 degrees is from front back to front, so on and so on. Yeah.
All right, so we're just basically talking how far off sort of the center line your position is. And yeah, we use angles a lot in mathematics when you're working with triangles and squares and stuff like that. But the same principle works when you're positioning a camera and you're trying to film something. Those will be at different angles to each other. And that's not all. The script supervisor has other tasks too. We're learning that
Does it ever end?
They're learning these people have many tasks. What is a task? It's basically a job. It's something that you have to do. It could be a specific job, like your boss might say, please go to the coffee shop and buy me some coffee. It could be something simple like that. Or it could be part of your job, a responsibility. Okay, for a secretary, the boss might say, I have a task for you today. Please write a letter to this company. That would be one task. But that secretary, he or she, would have many other tasks. Answer the phone, keep their boss's schedule organized, pass on messages to their boss. These are all the different little jobs that goes up into doing their full job, fulfilling all their responsibilities. For example, during her first day on the job, Matilda's boss showed her the tasks she was expected to perform.
So, going on with the article, they time each scene and write that down on the breakdown sheet. So, you have this, maybe on the breakdown sheet, but also on that computer software we were talking about in day one.
But they have to time the scenes.
Yeah, so when you time something, like when you use time as a verb, it means you have to count or measure the amount of time. So, each scene probably would be, from anywhere from a couple of seconds to a few minutes. Yeah, so they have to record probably down to, less than a second. They probably have to record, tenths of a second to figure out precisely when does this scene end and when should we begin the next one or when do we need to cut this into this, that kind of thing.
That's right. You can't make movies that are 6 hours long because it's hard for people to watch.
Well, some people have.
Some people have, but not very popular movies are 6 hours long.
Yeah.
And so, of course, that's important. That will change when they edit the movie. This is a whole other process they do after they finish shooting the movie. But before they edit, they want to have a basic idea of how long is the movie as we've shot it. Oh, it's 4 hours long? Wow, we're going to have to cut 2 hours out of this movie or something like that. So it's good to know this basic stuff. And here's another task that they have. It says they also make sure actors deliver their lines correctly.
Okay.
The actors have to remember their lines. Maybe not the whole thing, like if they're acting in a play, but they certainly have to remember the lines for that scene. So if there's a little change, that might actually be okay. But they have to make sure that the actor doesn't call someone a he instead of a she or, things like that. So they have to sort of make sure they're reading along as the actors are acting and speaking, making sure they don't make mistakes and suddenly things don't make sense. So this is another thing they have to make sure. When you make sure of something, you're basically checking it, making sure it's correct, all right? You're sort of over there supervising it or overseeing it, and if there are things that are wrong, you want to correct them before they become a problem. So you will make sure, before you leave your house every day, you probably make sure that you have money in your pocket, your phone, your keys, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, they have a lot of things to keep track of.
So many things.
And they're even aware of where each actor is looking. Are they looking in the right direction at someone who is not in the shot?
I've noticed that before.
Yeah, same here, yeah. And I know that when we're filming, sometimes that's a thing that we have to keep track of too. But
sure.
We don't have a script supervisor, so it's one guy doing the whole thing.
Amazing.
Yeah, so aware here is an adjective. When you say somebody's aware of something, it means they know what's going on and they have their full attention. Well, maybe not their full attention, but at least part of your attention on something. So it means, you're keeping it in your mind, you're keeping it in your line of sight. If you want to put a noun on this, you put NESS on the end of aware. You get awareness. Having good awareness of your time is really important when you're, completing tasks or when you have somewhere to be later or being aware of something. There's actually like another verb that comes from this called beware, which means be careful. So being aware can mean being careful of something. So like, are you aware that there is a typhoon holiday tomorrow?
Do you know this information?
Yeah.
Have you heard it? Are you up to date with the latest goings on?
Or did you remember it?
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, here's another thing they have to keep track of. If the person moves, is the actor still making eye contact?
Okay.
Oh, man. So imagine two actors are talking to each other. One of them who's not talking, let's say, walks across the room, but then in the next shot, we see that the person who's talking is still looking at the place where that actor was, not where they have moved to. And we at home might notice, hey, that guy was looking to his left, but now that person has moved to his right, but he's still looking to the left. They have to be making eye contact because most of us don't look away from the people that we are talking to, right?
Yeah.
We make eye contact. When you make eye contact, you basically look in that person's eyes. Your eyes sort of join together. The sight of your eye goes right into there. If you're feeling very romantic, you might look deeply into your lover's eyes.
Aww.
And you wouldn't look down at your shoes and say, I love you. Do you want to marry me? No, you would make eye contact if you're talking because that shows your emotions more clearly.
Right. Well, remember I said that they might have an assistant to do their job with them? Apparently, I am incorrect because the article says, amazingly, one script supervisor has to do all these jobs.
Unless you're really rich and you can hire your own assistants, but most script supervisors are not that rich. So
it's not a money maker kind of job.
It's a really challenging job, but it's also a really interesting job. And some people like to have a job like that.
All right, and we have this word amazingly in this sentence. And amazingly means that, it's an adverb that means that something is amazing. And it's, wow, like it's really cool that somebody is able to do all these jobs at the same time. It's one person being able to do these jobs. It's a pretty cool thing. So amazingly, like kind of unbelievably, they're able to do it.
So if you'd like to become a script supervisor, you need to have superb attention to detail. You need to be the kind of person who would walk into your room and say, someone's been in here. My computer was on my bed, now it's on my desk. I just noticed that as soon as I walked in.
Or my shirt was folded and now it's not folded.
My shirt was folded, now it's not folded. Or it was moved, or it was folded in a different way.
Yeah.
That means you have a very good attention to detail. You notice small changes quite easily. If you do it in a superb way, that just means great, fantastic, wonderful. Something superb is something really, really good.
And you need to be extremely organized and have an excellent memory.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it goes without saying, I think.
Yeah. For sure. So, as we wrap up, we read, it's a hard job, but everyone in the movie business appreciates the important role script supervisors play.
They better.
If you like that thing and if you have that attention to detail, it would be a great job. And as they say, probably the director, the smart actors, the people who know, they would come and say, thanks, you saved us. They would appreciate what you're doing. To appreciate something is basically to understand how valuable and important it is.
Yeah.
All right? If you're kind of a selfish person, you wouldn't appreciate the things your parents do for you. Well, they have to. They're my parents. No, they work hard. They sacrifice. They help you out with all sorts of troubles. And it's nice for you to say, thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
I understand what you're doing. It means a lot to me. It shows you love me and you know, I've noticed it, that kind of thing. For example, you only appreciate good health after you get sick. So true. You don't know what it's like to get up in the morning and just feel fine until you have to get up in the morning and feel terrible because you're sick.
It's like the song goes, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so we would normally be going to our For You chat now, but for our second day, we're actually going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do an activity with you guys.
Oh.
So right now, we're going to take a little break and we'll come back and show you how it's done.
For You chat.
All right, so guys, we've got an activity to do with you today. You are going to sort of play as a script supervisor. You're going to see how good you might be at this job. Because we've got a scene here, which is actually a pretty famous scene. It's from the movie Shrek.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I remember watching this when I was about 12 years old, something like that's when it came out. And it's a scene where, the Lord of the Land, Farquaad, is trying to collect all the fairy tale creatures and stuff. And so he's asked people to bring them fairy tale creatures. And this woman's got a donkey, which she says can talk.
Ah, okay. This is near the beginning of the movie, right?
Yeah, it is. So she's like, well, I've got a talking donkey.
Right. Well, that's good for $10 if you can prove it. I'm the head guard.
Oh, okay. I'm the old woman.
Yeah.
And I say, oh, go ahead, little fella. And Donkey just looks up at her. He doesn't say anything.
Well?
Oh, he's just a little nervous. He's really quite a chatterbox. Talk, you boneheaded dolt.
That's enough. That's it. I've heard enough. Guards!
No. He talks. He does. I can talk. This is her pretending to be Donkey. I can talk. I love to talk. I'm the talkingest damn thing you ever saw.
Get her out of my sight.
No. The guards are taking her away. I swear. Oh, he can talk. And then what happens?
Well, then we see that the guards grab the old woman as she struggles with them. She's trying to get away. One of her legs flies out and kicks Tinkerbell out of Peter Pan's hands. Remember, all these sort of storybook characters are there sort of registering with the guards. So Tinkerbell's there along with Peter Pan. And, of course, Tinkerbell has this magical ability to make people fly, right? So as she escapes, her cage drops on Donkey's head. He gets sprinkled with magic fairy dust. And suddenly, Donkey starts to fly, right? He starts to kind of float off in the air.
Yep. And he says, now he talks, hey, I can fly.
And Peter Pan, who's standing there, is looking, going, he can fly.
Three little pigs. He can fly.
He can talk, says the guard. So it was true. The old lady was telling the truth all the time. And that's, of course, how Donkey gets away, right? And then he meets Shrek later on. And they go off on their adventures. So there you go. That's the scene. Most of us have probably seen that scene at least once. If not more times from the very famous and popular Shrek movie. Okay. So we're kind of, here making the movie and the scene's finished and everything seems to have gone well, right?
Right. But there are some continuity errors in the pictures of this scene.
Interesting.
So if you think of these as different takes, different shots of the scene, well, there's some things that are not quite right.
Have you guys noticed any of them as we went through it? Did you notice some of the pictures were different from other pictures or situations were switched around when they shouldn't have been?
Right. So I noticed one.
Okay.
I think the first one that I noticed was actually in scene 7 or take 7.
Scene 7. Okay. That's sort of the guards pointing at the woman, telling her to make the donkey talk.
Yeah, well, he has a beard.
He does.
And in the other ones, he does not have a beard.
Look at that. In the first scenes with the guard, right at the beginning, he's clean shaven. He doesn't have a beard. Hey, that's something the continuity supervisor, the script supervisor, would definitely have to notice. That's right.
Yeah. So anything that you see?
Well, I think there's another problem with the guard. The guy who's playing the guard should get fired. First of all, he didn't notice that he shaved off a beard and told everyone. And they also didn't notice, and he didn't notice, that in picture number 5, let's call it shot number 5, he has the pen in his left hand. You see that feathered pen that he's holding there writing?
Yeah.
But then, if you look at shot 6, or other shots, the pen is in his right hand.
Oh, no kidding.
So he suddenly switched hands with the pen, which I guess is possible. Some people can write with two hands, but to do it in the middle of a scene, even if it's possible, for me to watch it and go, wait, I wonder if that guard can write with both hands. And well, that's really hard to write with both hands.
It takes you out of the movie.
It's taken me away from the movie. It's taken my attention away from the story and the characters and what's going on. And of course, that's what I should be focused on. So all those little errors can make it difficult for people to really, sort of fall into the story.
Yeah. So there are several other continuity errors in this script.
There really are
they?
There's
a whole bunch.
Okay.
Looked through it and just, you keep seeing more and more the more you look.
So.
Yeah. So this is what you guys have got to do now. You get to do the rest of this activity. You find these continuity errors and point them out, and it's kind of like spot the difference. Yeah. So this is your time to practice being a script supervisor. See if this job is for you. And no matter what you do, have fun. And we will see you next time. Script supervisors, the continuity experts. On set, the script supervisor sits with the director and watches each take. As they watch, the supervisor makes numerous notes. For example, which shoulder is that actress's hair on? Which hand did the actor gesture with? These details have to be the same in each take, especially when the scene is filmed from different camera angles. The script supervisor has other tasks too. They time each scene and write that down on the breakdown sheet. They also make sure actors deliver their lines correctly. They're even aware of where each actor is looking. Are they looking in the right direction at someone who is not in the shot? If the person moves, is the actor still making eye contact? Amazingly, one script supervisor has to do all these jobs. If you'd like to become a script supervisor, you need to have superb attention to detail. You need to be extremely organized and have an excellent memory. It's a hard job, but everyone in the movie business appreciates the important role script supervisors play.
Vocabulary Review. Director. Justin listened to the director's ideas before starting to set up the cameras. Gesture. Liz and Albert gestured towards me to let me know I could come over and join their conversation. Angle. That angle makes me look so short. Please try taking another picture. Task. Griffin has many tasks to finish before he can leave the office. Aware. We laughed because Travis was not aware there was a spider on his head. Appreciate. Frank appreciates everything his friends do to cheer him up when he's sad.
智慧小补帖
Numerous. Amazingly. Superb.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net